Great to see you, and thank you so much for your time because I know you're super busy. You have a newborn, you do so much charity work. So thank you so much.
No, anytime. Thank you, man. It's always good. You have to give back. So, obviously with this quarantine time now, I've got to do a lot of things. It was hard for me to do, so I've had time to do that. And obviously doing charity work is something I love to do anyway. It's something that makes me feel happy. And yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I respect that so much because I see all over your social media, you're always giving back with the Amir Khan Foundation,
yeah.
feeding families in Pakistan, and I just love how involved you are.
It's all about, you see, God's put us in this position where, he's given me the opportunity to be a fighter and then give me the name. So I want to show my respect and and help the people around us. For example, there's a lot of poor people. There's a lot of people that need aid, need support, and need our help. So this is where champions like myself need to come out and be there for them, because these people watch my fights, they support me, they are 100% behind me. So this makes me feel that I have to do something for them as well. It's not all about me just taking credit from them. It's all about me doing things for them as well, as they support me all the time.
I know also that you were offering the NHS to lend your
Yeah.
60,000 square foot building to them. How did that all go? Did they ever respond?
Yeah, so I can see you've done your homework. That's a good thing. you know
I tried.
yeah, no. So yeah, basically I've got a building which is already literally all complete. So the interior started to go in. So obviously because of the COVID-19, the work stopped from the interior to go in. So I said, why? Because it is watertight. There's a roof over you. There's no water leaks or anything. So why doesn't the government use it as a place where they can look after all the COVID-19, all the people who are suffering from coronavirus? And they thought it was a great idea, because the reason I said this to them was because, say, if there's people with the COVID-19 and they are suffering from it, they can't go to they can go to regular hospital, yes, but they're going to pass on that this virus is going to spread to the people who don't have the coronavirus and who are there for other reasons and other purposes. So I thought, why not do my little bit and give this building to them, so that way it's all looked after in that one area, in that one place. And they came back to me, said, look, thank you for your offer. If the numbers get higher, we will definitely be in touch, and we love that you are offering this to us. So yeah, they were very happy about it.
But are you okay? Because I saw on your Instagram story yesterday you
Oh
weren't
yeah.
feeling good. So is everything okay?
So I these last couple of days I've not been sleeping that well. I've been a little bit under the weather and having cold sweats, and luckily I had no flus or anything like that. I had no cough, I had no chest pains. I just didn't feel right. I just didn't feel good. Maybe that's because I'm not been training. I'm not been in the gym training. I'm not been doing much. I've just been locked at home doing it just with the family and the kids. And see, my body's always about moving around. I'm busy traveling. I'm always on the go, and I just think all that just kind of got to me, and just felt a little bit stressed out and just tired of all this lockdown period. Today I had a IV with all the vitamins in and everything, because like I said, I've not been training and stuff, so I just want to make sure I'm topping up all my vitamins. I've not been taking my normal supplements, so I thought I wanted to make sure I took an IV today, so that way I already feel so much better. So I think it's all about, while you are in quarantine at home, I think it's all about eating the right foods and trying not to get bored. See, that's where I got bored a little bit, and I started to get depressed, really, like at home, and knowing that you can't meet your friends or you can't go out anywhere. So now I've kind of tried to do as much training as I can in the garden. I will spend more time with the kids, training with them as well. There's only so much we can do, while you're at home.
True. I completely agree, but I'm happy that you're healthy. That's
Well,
most
thank you very
important.
much. No,
Because
definitely.
you had to take that test, right? For the COVID?
I took the test, and it came out like negative, which is
Okay.
good in a way. So yeah, I took it. I took it as a precaution, really.
Precaution. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why not just make sure, but we better be safe than sorry later.
Exactly. It's crazy to think because exactly 1 year ago today, you were fighting in Madison Square Garden, fighting Terrence
Really,
Crawford. And
really. What?
yeah, April 20th. I'm just curious, like, before obviously this pandemic happened,
Yeah.
did you have a fight scheduled or anything in the works?
Yeah, so basically, I had after the Crawford fight, I did a fight in Saudi Arabia, and
Yes.
that was 2 months after the Crawford fight, and then I was looking at fighting in the end of March,
Oh,
early April, but then that had to be cancelled because that's when the pandemic happened.
yeah.
So yeah, I want to just do like a nice tune-up fight before I go into fighting for another title or something. See, I had the WBC international title, so I was going to defend that. Um, but yeah, there's a few areas we were looking at. There was Saudi Arabia we were looking at again,
Yeah.
but then obviously when lockdown happened, everything had to be cancelled. So yeah, I think with boxing as a whole, I think it's put everyone back. This this coronavirus pandemic has put everyone behind. There's supposed to be some big fights happening. A lot of fighters are not in the gyms anymore. A lot of fighters are not training because they're not allowed to be in communities. They A lot of shows are going to be cancelled and have been cancelled. So it's just that I think the sport has been put back by a year at least. I think things are going to get normal after a year, in my opinion. For to get shows back running properly, it's going to take a long time. So I'm quite happy that I'm quite glad for myself that I'm in a position where I was more towards the end of my career where I wanted to have a few more fights and call it a day.
Yeah.
So so for me, like imagine I was at the peak of my career and this happened. You know, I would be in bits. So I feel for those young fighters, you know, like the Lemonchenkos and like for example Crawford as well. They are at the peak of the career where they need the big fights and they're not getting them, you know. So I do feel for them.
But who were you scheduled to fight around March or April?
Yeah, there's a few names that we were looking at. One was like Abyssinian. There was another name we were looking at in America. The guy was supposed to be in the top 10 anyway on one of the belts. So, you know, I mean, yeah, it was going to be a decent fight. But yeah, obviously, when before you come to a stage where we started looking, I started my training a little bit, and then soon as we started looking for opponents, I started talks with opponents. That's when we were told that we're not allowed to have any boxing events on.
But your trainers, are they still going to be like the Bones Adams, Alex
Yeah.
Ariza? Are you
I
keep?
mean, for this moment of time, yes. I think for this moment of time, I think they are the right match for me and what I need to do. See, at this moment of time, like on my career, I've learned the technical side of it. It's all about just mainly, um, you know, someone keeping me fit, someone doing the pads with me, someone giving me like a game plan to follow. So simple things I need because look, I'm an experienced fighter. I've had almost 40 fights, so I've been in the game a very long time. So yeah, I mean, you know, is there going to be a lot more to learn? You know, so I need someone to be there for, and to train me really.
Like you mentioned, you know how you said this pandemic, I mean, it's kind of brought things back, you know, like a year. So where do you think the boxing landscape will be like when things can return to normalcy?
See, I mean, it can go two ways. Where a lot of these fighters are going to be like, we need tune-up fights because we've been out for such a long time. And then that's going to destroy the sport a little bit because people want to see them in big fights. Now, whereas then UFC are going to do probably shows and they'll probably put the best versus the best on and they'll attract all the audience. What boxing has to do, in my opinion, is put on big fights, you know, take that risk and say, for example, like I'm talking about fights like a Crawford and a Spence fight. You know what I mean? If that straight after this coronavirus lockdown, if they was to introduce some big fights, that would be one. I think they should. Canelo and Golovkin rematch could be in the second one. So they have to put the big fights in so that way the fans engage with boxing. And then I think this is a good chance for boxing either to get back to the top again and be the number one fighting sport. MMA did take over. UFC did take over. Or if they don't take these big risky fights and these fights so soon, then they might lose all that fan base yet again, as we have lost boxing fans, you know, to MMA and other sports. But it's just because the fights that the fans want to see are not really happening, and especially now with this pandemic period, I think fans want to see big fights.
Yeah.
And if we was to give them big fights straight away, I think they'll want to stick with us all the way then.
But speaking of big fights, I know recently you spoke to Coogan of IFL TV and you mentioned, like someone you would love to fight, obviously Manny Pacquiao, a big fight. What do you think should be next for him though? Because I know you mentioned you first want that tune-up fight.
Well, yeah. Look, to be honest with you, if it was a Manny Pacquiao fight, look, and we both agreed, I think we'd be able to take that fight without a tune-up fight. See, but look, we are both professionals now, and we've been in the game a very long time with experience and everything. So we can go straight into a big fight. There's been time where I've taken off 2 years and come back and had to a fight, and so we always keep ourselves busy in the gym anyway. See, it comes to a state at this level, we don't really need trainers to always put in our head, this is what we need to do. We can do it ourselves because we've been in the game for such a long time. But for me to come back and go straight into a hard fight straight away, I think, look, depending if it's the right name, why not? Look, Manny Pacquiao fight, for example, is not going to come every day. So if that name was put to me to come back from this pandemic and let's do the Pacquiao fight, I would not say no to it.
And does it bother you? Because I know that Kell Brook always mentions your name. Does that
Yeah.
bother you?
Yeah, you know what? He always mentioned my name. I mean, look, end of the day, when the fight was supposed to happen, we was in talks of making that fight at 147, and then the deals were getting done, and then he goes and moves up to 154. See, I'm not a 154 fighter. I made that mistake going up against Canelo. I'm a 147 fighter. I always want to stay at 147. So I've said to him that, look, if the fight was ever to happen, it's going to happen at 147. There's no point then saying that you want to fight, which is we in talks of making the fight happen. Then he moves up to 154. So really, who is the guy who's avoiding it, me or him? But he's always talking trash. And to be honest with you, I don't like giving him any airtime. I just don't respond back to him because I know that he's just really deep down. It's him that doesn't really want the fight.
So no amount of money would interest you to fight him?
No, I mean, he can say what he wants, really. To be honest with you, I think so many times I've tried to make that fight and he's never wanted it. So that's why I've never really brought it back up again. To be honest with you, to me, that fight's kind of dead because I think with the disrespect and the way he's just using it for his own little bit of publicity and keep making a name for himself, I just feel like, does he really want the fight or does he just want like the limelight around the fight?
I follow you on Twitter. So I noticed that a few days ago you did post that I believe a fan asked you, what one of your big regrets in your career, like what fight it was, and you said the Danny Garcia fight. Would you
Yeah.
ever be interested in a rematch with him?
I'd love a rematch. I was told I could have a rematch for a long time from Al Heyman, and then never happened. And then obviously I left Al Heyman and then went with Matchroom, and then from there then started promoting my own fights.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's a fight I'd love to have, definitely. Uh, got respect for Danny Garcia, and he's always said the same thing as well. Yeah, he'd take the fight, but for some reason, doesn't mean it doesn't happen really. So I think we should start the talks on that. Maybe that's a fight that will make us both a lot of money, but at the same time, it'll be a massive fight for both of us. I mean, everyone would love to see that rematch, Not only in the UK, but I think in America as well, it'd be massive. I don't mind coming back to America and taking that fight.
Would you feel satisfied, like say, because I know you mentioned, like I said, to IFL that you feel maybe one or two more fights left before you call it a day, start managing fighters and whatnot. Would you feel satisfied to retire without a Manny Pacquiao fight?
Um, well, I've done so much in my career.
Yeah.
I won multiple world titles and then fought at the biggest arenas and the biggest names. So to be honest with you, look, if it doesn't happen, then I think God didn't want it to happen. So I can't really force something that was not meant to happen. So look, if it's happened, then end of the day, I think it's all God's plan, and I'm happy however things work out. Really, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, then we just move on to whatever comes after that.
But where do you think you present the biggest challenge for him?
I think with Manny Pacquiao, look, it's a great storyline, first of all, because we used to be sparring partners. We trained together. We must have done about 200-300 rounds of sparring. We had some great sparring sessions. Look, you can never compare a sparring session to a fight. I understand that. We know a lot about each other. We're both quick fighters. We're quite similar fighters, movement, speed. I do really well against Southpaw. So, I mean, look, I think it is a good fight because I think it'll be exciting. And I think with me being very confident in I think the speed. See, with Manny, normally he's the quicker guy. In this fight against Manny Pacquiao, if I was to fight him, I'd be the quicker guy. Power, I've got the power as well to stand up to his. And the main thing is, I think, is the size. See, a lot of these people that fight Manny Pacquiao, normally Manny overwhelm me with his speed, but with me, he won't overwhelm me with his speed because obviously I've got my own speed, but at the same time, I've got the size behind it as well with the power. So I think it'll make a good matchup and a lot of skill as well. Being having that boxing brain as well. But Manny's a great champion. Not gonna ever talk bad about him. I think he's one of the best out there that we've ever had. But to be in the same ring as a great legend like him would be amazing. And to fight him would be amazing. So if that fight happens, it happens, and I think it would make a big fight, and also it'll create a lot of numbers on pay-per-view, for example, because it's a fight that people would love to see. Yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned like the Lomachenkos and
Yeah.
fighters in their prime. What do you think about Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez, and who's your pick in that fight?
So yeah, there were a few questions asked to me on my Instagram the other day. So one was Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko. So that's a good fight. I just think that, in my opinion, Lomachenko is the all-round skillful fighter. I think he would beat a lot of the guys at his weight. I think he's the number one. I think he just, obviously, he's not. No one's really giving him that run for his money. He's been put down, but he's come back and won fights. I don't think anyone can give him any problems. His skill is what wins him the fights, and power and his position, and obviously how accurate he is. And then you've got other names. Like there's another fight someone said to me as well, which was Crawford and Spence, who would win that fight. And I think all day long, Crawford would outbox him and beat him quite easily, because I think with his boxing skills, see, a lot of fighters think with power, with speed, you can win fights, but it's all about skill. If you have the skill, that skill beats power and speed all the time. And then you've got another big fight. You got Canelo and Triple G. That rematch, if that ever happened, that'll be massive again. And I think this time Canelo, I think, might even stop him.
What about the trilogy between Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, that one. I think. See, I don't think Tyson Fury will stop him on the third fight. I think he will give him a good fight and beat him on points. I can't see him stopping him. I know the second fight he stopped him. There's so many excuses, and you just don't know how training camp went or whatever. But I just, because Wilder doesn't seem to be a fighter to give up. I think in that fight he kind of gave up. There must have been something wrong. There must have been something not right. See, we've been in positions where you've gone into fights. Even as a fighter myself, I've gone into positions where you've been in a position where you don't feel the same way, you don't feel right, and you've gone in there and not had the best performance, or got beat off someone that you should never have got beat off. So I just feel that I still feel Tyson Fury is a better fighter, but I just think that Wilder will put on a better fight in the third fight, and I don't think Fury will be able to stop him, but I think Fury will win on points.
And lastly, because obviously you have accomplished so much in your career, from the amateurs to the pros, when you reflect on your career, which fight taught you the most about yourself?
I think it was my first loss really against Prescott, because even though it was someone that hurt me so much at that time, it made me realize that, look, you're not invisible and you can get hurt in fights, and it's about changing your whole career. Now, if you want to be the best and you want to um, become a better fighter, you have to change things in your life. And that's what I did. I moved then to Freddie Roach's gym, trained in America, in LA. And then also, see, I've learned more from my losses than I have from my wins. See, when you win a fight, you never go back at the mistakes. When you lose a fight, you go back at your video, you look at the video, you see where you made your mistakes, why you lost that fight. And that's the way I've always seen it. You learn from your losses, not the wins. When you win a fight, you never look at what mistakes you made. You never look at the bad things that happen in camp. You just think everything's fine. But when you have a loss, that's when you go back to the drawing board and you see what went wrong.
And that does help you grow and improve. I greatly appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. I always appreciate your time. What would you like to tell all your fans and, people who may even be struggling through this pandemic and may not see the positives right now?
Yeah. I mean, my advice to them is to stay strong, stay with your loved ones, stay at home, and just spend as much quality time as you can with your family. See, we're in a time now where we're not allowed to go out. It makes you realize how fortunate we were before, where we can go out anywhere, do whatever we want. but now it just makes us feel, and so like lockdown, and there's people out there in different kinds in different parts of the world who are in a position like this every day, and that's the reason what motivates me to do more charity work. So hopefully, the message I want to send across to people is that, look, you're feeling like you're in lockdown, you're not allowed to do anything or go anywhere. There's people out there in the world who are living like this every day in their life. So think about them. And this is only a short period where we're going to be in this lockdown, but there's people there in this such period for the rest of their life. So let's try to help the less fortunate people around the world and the poor people, and let's do our bit.